Wonderland Time has been under a lot of scrutiny recently with the treasurer Sifu, who used the treasury balance in order to prevent himself from getting liquidated during a time of massive sell-off and to help prevent cascading liquidations. So long story short, I'm going to dive into this. However, later on today, I'm going to be going into the We Them Discord, the link's down below, and I'm actually going to be doing a little AMA, if you will, kind of diving deeper into this. So if you want to listen in and partake in this incredible community, if you are into anything DeFi, you're definitely going to want to be in here. And also just keep an eye out for the free NFT that we're launching. It's a free mint. You don't have to pay a single thing. You mint it and then get exclusive access to just an incredible community that I'm building. But I want to get to the accusations, my thoughts, and of course, this is just my opinion, what I see. And for a lot of you who have been here for a decent amount of time now, you know that I like to think of things and look at things through a different lens, use a little bit more logic. Everybody seems to overcomplicate and overprocess situations. However, let's just get right into it. So this was a thread that different people have sent me already. So we're going to start from the very top. So this is the first part. Okay, people saying it's a lie that Sifu got 4.25K time, which equates to $8.4 million at that current time, sent straight from the treasury to his wallet, wrapped as wrap memo, then added to collateral on Abra to prevent liquidation. Now, just so you know, I actually went through a lot of these transactions, went to Snowtrace, I literally had to click on every single one that would happen on the 15th of this month, and I found the transaction that they're talking about, which again, we'll dive into in just a bit, but we can see that, we have memories wrapped into wrap memo, etc. So this thread really outlines everything. However, this is not FUD. Again, this isn't FUD, but I want to just say right now that I'm going to give you my perspective as to why I think this wasn't necessary. It was sketchy to a point because it wasn't straightforward as to what he was doing. And if he didn't get liquidated, here's the thing: if Sifu didn't get liquidated and this worked out how he wanted it to work out, he would have been hailed as a hero, like such a smart move to use treasury funds to prevent liquidations and steer the treasurer. However, because this isn't a proper DAO where the participants like myself and you probably watching this, we didn't have a vote in allowing this to happen. But on the other hand is that if it went to a vote to allow Sifu to use treasury funds so his personal didn't get liquidated to prevent a massive cascading liquidation because he had a massive position in there, it would have taken days. So it doesn't make sense to vote because the voting, if you use Snapshot, could have been going for like 2 or 3 days. And by the time that voting proposal is up and over, the negative repercussions could have already happened. So again, I'll get into that more in just a few minutes. I do believe there's good and bad to this. So let's dive into this. Let's first begin with Sifu trying to dispel this on Time Discord, saying it's a lie to calm the shit show that happened yesterday. FUD, they see a transaction, post attention seeking assumption instead of asking for clarity. And I did not take anything to avoid being liquidated. The multi-sig wouldn't have signed off on a transfer for that purpose. If that was my goal, wouldn't it make more sense to ask for him to repay? Now, here's the thing, is that I haven't checked the Discord to see if this is true. Can it be fake? Sure. But do I believe it's fake? I don't think so, or else this thread would lose credibility. But everything else that is on this thread seems to hold up because I double checked it. So saying this, and just so you can see right over here, if you go ahead and you just take a look at his wallet, right? So this is Sifu's wallet. If you go in and look at Etherscan, because again, this is the C chain on Avalanche, so AKA MetaMask, right? So we can see right over here that, this is clearly Sifu's wallet. It's literally labeled sifu.eth. So to also cross-reference it on Snowtrace to say that it didn't happen, this is really sketchy to me because it's literally the blockchain. You really can't hide it, and that's kind of the pro. Unless you're using Monero, you can track everything here. Which again, I haven't checked Discord. I haven't seen this message except for here, so I don't want to claim this to be factual. But everything else here, there's literal there's literal proof. So we're going to keep going. Okay, here's the verified bundle of Wonderland Treasury. Keep your eyes on the red circled address. So right over here, we can see the red circled address right over here. So we can see if we go to history as well, we can see transactions. If we go to Avalanche Chain right over here, we can see the transactions going in and out. And you can also see that some of these are actually labeled, I think from what I was looking at, unless I ran a search for Sifu's and that's where I saw it. But some of these are actually labeled from Sifu.eth, unless I ran his address and cross-reference it there. But essentially, again, just keep in mind this particular address. So it's the address which is part of the Wonderland Treasury. So again, this is essentially what they stated, the Wonderland Treasury. So 4,250 time, at this time, around $8.4 million was sent from the Wonderland Treasury to Sifu ETH personal address. So Sifu address right here, and we can see, and again, I cross-referenced these transactions as well, and this is valid on, if we cross-reference, obviously we can see that this is just part of the transaction that happened on the 15th, but this is the actual transaction. We can see from Wonderland to Sifu, 4,250 time, worth 5.46 million at the time of taking this video, but around 8.4 million at the time of transfer. And right over here, we can see Sifu.eth on the actual Zapper.fi. We can see that it's his actual address, like I just showed you on Etherscan as well, because it is the C chain, so it's going to reflect like it's on Ethereum. So I just looked at Etherscan for simplicity purposes. So then he wrapped 4.25K time into wrapped memo and then added them as collateral to Abracadabra. So if we just take a look at DBank, again, DBank keeps track of all the transactions of a certain wallet to see your P&L and just to track everything very easily. So I'm not going to go through all his transactions. However, you can see 4,250 memo. Let's see if I can run a search for 4,000. Yeah, so there it is. 4,250 memo wrapped into 92.59 wrapped memo. Right? So again, that's verifiable through DBank as well, and DBank is literally getting their data on chain. So here's another bonus for you. Mind you, the ones in yellow, in the yellow box, he sells time while the time price was crashing. Another one of those salary reimbursements. Who knows? Ask Danny and Sifu. Again, yeah, it does look bad. The Frogs voted him for the sole treasurer. Correct. Is this okay with you, Frogs? If yes, then LOL. So, you know, I see the point here. You could see that the memo was obviously wrapped, and from here you could start seeing the sell-off as the price was crashing as well. Again, not a very good sign. Even though he took time out of the treasury to bolster his own position from liquidation, he got liquidated. Which again, if we go to liquidated.fi, I think it was open already. So yeah, so right here we can see liquidation.fi, we can see his address, Sifu's address, and we could see the entire liquidation, the entire liquidations that actually happened. And again, it happened 2 days later on the 17th. So yeah, Virtual Query actually had a tweet over here, which was interesting. Last tweet on time. Seems like Sifu just got liquidated while Sesta is yelling to buy. Okay. So first off, Sesta said, well, if you look at a chance to enter into Wonderland 5 right now, we basically hovering at the value of the treasury or the minimum value of time. So even though it wasn't a blatant call to buy, it was basically a signal of saying, hey, this is a prime opportunity to purchase. Now, all right, so before I get into where we need to process this, let's keep going. Is this FUD though? Depending on what you mean by FUD and whom you ask, very true. Everybody has a different opinion here. And I really liked factual and threads where I can actually see on-chain data of stuff actually happening, so it's verifiable. So is the verifiable truth FUD? Do you live by the truth or hopium? Again, for me personally, I like to look at the better, kind of the hope. Again, I don't want to call it hopium, but I look at the better side of mankind, and that there is hope for us. So I feel sorry for the frogs. I was a frog myself. I have nothing to gain from this. Okay, great. You Frog Nation frogs don't need to believe me, yada, yada. Avalanche AVAX, if you guys are building the future of finance, in my humble opinion, you should not buddy up with fraudsters. So this is where I kind of have a little bit of a problem with this thread is calling Sifu and Sesta frauds. Now, and I'm going to end this off on here, and I'll let you guys make your own decisions, but I'm going to tell you what I see and what I think. First thing is first is that if Sifu really tried to cover it up in the Discord, and again, you guys can cross-reference this. I personally did not go into the Discord and look for this because, again, could this be Photoshop? Sure. But I cared about the on-chain, what happened, like the actual transactions that happened. Is it pretty bad evidence? Absolutely. However, if Sifu was correct and it prevented his massive position from being liquidated, because again, let's call it like it is. These positions are millions of dollars. They're not small positions. So being liquidated is going to have a massive negative impact on the price, which it did. So the fact that Sifu made the call to fund his own wallet to prevent him from being liquidated because his positions were so massive that it was going to cause just a huge, and we can see what happened on the 17th, right? 17th wasn't looking too hot. Let's go to the daily and let's go to the 17th on the daily. But again, you can see the 17th, what happened on the 17th. The massive liquidation here was due to a lot of panic because of what Sifu did, and it had a lot to do with Sifu's position. It's a massive position. So just keep that in mind. And again, let me go to wrap memo because it's not necessarily even time over here. I want to show you this on the 17th. Excuse me. So I should have showed you wrap memo in comparison to time. But we can see the liquidation that actually happened when it comes down to wrap memo. I'm going to put the blame here on Sifu for a fact, but I don't believe it was done with malicious intent. I think he was trying to prevent himself from being liquidated. Because here's the thing, is that if he really was trying to do this with malicious intent, he would have taken a lot more from the treasury than just stopping at what he stopped at the 8 million valued at the time, or 4,250 time. There would have been a lot more that was moved, and more that was moved over a few days. So if he saw himself getting close to liquidation, then he could have easily went ahead and moved more time over. He could have borrowed against it if he wrapped it and had more mim. There's so much that he could have done here, but I don't see it being malicious intent. And here's the thing: if he prevented himself from getting liquidated, let's just say he prevented this massive cascading liquidation based on his position, right? And if he prevented this, we wouldn't have the narrative of fraudster. We would actually have a narrative of really smart, like, oh, that was such a smart idea. Let's take a look at what Sesta did with AVAX. Remember when Sesta sold 893,000 AVAX for around $100 million US, and then the price of AVAX went from, I think it might have been 100 down to 80, or it might have been 90 down to 70. It was a significant drop, and everyone hailed Sesta as a genius for making this particular play. However, the blame really comes back down onto Sifu for getting liquidated and not being transparent about it. I, for one, the way that I feel is that if Sifu was more transparent of saying in the community, even as an announcement, hey, I'm going to move over treasury funds to prevent my massive liquidation, to prevent my massive position from liquidating, I think, yes, there would have been there still would have been a ripple in the community, but I don't think it would have been as big of a negative implication as it is right now because it was held in secrecy. It was done in secrecy and almost looks like it was maliciously done. So if this message from Sifu actually holds valid, then there's really no protecting him, because at this point it looks like he was trying to cover up his tracks, even when it's on the blockchain. Like it's literally on-chain transactions that you can't fake. However, I can see both sides here. I, for one, think this is pretty shady, but I think it wasn't done with malicious intent. I think the way it was executed by not being transparent about it was pretty malicious, was pretty shady, not necessarily done with malicious intent. However, like I said, this is open for discussion. I want to have you make your own decision. Don't just take my opinion as face value. Think for yourself, stand on your own too. And later tonight, what I'm going to try to do, if I have enough time, is I'm going to try to hold an AMA inside of the We Them Discord where we can bounce off ideas and kind of speculations of what really happened. So if you want to join We Them, just take a look in the description down below and you'll get up-to-date info on everything that's happening. But again, that's pretty much it for this video. Hidden Gem fam, it's been a pleasure. I can't wait to see you all inside of We Them, and I'll see you all very soon. Have a great one.